What is going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I am Gabriel Diano. I'm the creator of Athlete Mentality. I'm the author of the Winner Mindset Blueprint. I'm also a college athlete and a psychology student. For most of my life, I was an athlete and I struggled with the mental side. But I didn't even know that I was struggling with the mental side. I put so much pressure on myself to perform better, to do better things, and I didn't realize that what I was lacking was not actually training. I didn't have to train more. I didn't need more physical effort. I was lacking the mental side of the game. And this was one of the reasons why I started Athlete Mentality, because I wanted not only to learn more about psychology, about how my mind works, but I also wanted to help other athletes that had the same problem as I did to perform better and to solve this, to become the athletes they can become. Because without the mental side, you cannot become a successful athlete. So in these videos, in this series of videos, I will show you why some athletes will never achieve the top, why some athletes will never be able to achieve that, and how you cannot become one of them, how you can solve these problems, how you can fix these problems, and not become like these athletes that will never achieve the top. In the second video, I will show you how you can fix these problems that all of these athletes are making, that are making it impossible for them to perform at the high level. And on the last video, I will show you a very useful strategy that you can use anytime, any moment you want to become more confident athlete and to develop the mindset of the greatest athletes in the world. These videos will be posted this week, one following the other, and it's very important that you watch them in the right order. This is the first video, so you are starting today with this process. In each video, you're gonna learn a lot of things. You're gonna realize how much important the mind is. And I really hope these videos helps you to understand the psychological side. They help you to understand how important it is to develop the right mindset, to understand, to actually work on your mindset to become the athlete you want to become. It's impossible to play on a high level if you don't have the right mentality. The right mentality is the most important thing if you want to achieve good things in life, not only in sports, but in business in general. Everything you want to become good in life, you need to develop the right mindset. And this is key for every single person. And in here, I will teach you a lot about this. So stay with me and I'll teach you the most important things for becoming a high-level athlete. So let's get to the main point of this video. Why some athletes will never be able to achieve the top. Why some athletes can never achieve a high level of performance. Why they will never be able to do that. Well, first of all, the problem is on the system. The way that coaches, the way that teams, the way that our society tries to make us to perform on a high level, to compete, is wrong. Most of the things that people are teaching you about performance is wrong. They don't know how to make athletes confident. They don't know how to make athletes motivated. They don't know how to make athletes comfortable to compete. They don't know how to make athletes relax, to enjoy the moment. People don't know how to make athletes to achieve the top. And the ones that get there are either lucky or they have the right tools. But that is a minority of the athletes. The majority of the athletes, they don't have access to these tools. They don't even know these things exist. Most of the athletes are just going through the motions, letting everything on their environment to affect them, and this will 99% of the times end up in a wrong result, in a bad result. You cannot expect that things will make you successful if you don't know how to manage them, if you don't know how to manage your coach thoughts, your coach expectations, the environment around you, your friends' expectations, the criticism around you, the anxiety the game involves, the tough competition you face, the good opponent you play against. All of these things, they will influence you. And there are a lot of things that influence your confidence. And if you don't know how to manage this, if you don't know how to become confident, if you don't have the right mindset, it becomes impossible for you to achieve the high level. And I didn't know about these for a long period of my life. I didn't know. I struggled a lot with these. And I didn't even know that I could fix this during my life. The answer to me was always working harder and harder. To my coaches, the only answer was physical training, and I stick with that. I was giving more and more effort throughout my career, and it was not working. I was not performing better. I was not using my potential. At one time in my life, I decided to give up on sports because I was not using my potential on the games. During practice, I was one of the best athletes. I was actually the captain of my team, but I couldn't show that on games. I was playing average, and on training I was great. I was much better than most of the players that I play against, not only on my club, but when I was just playing with my friends. I was always one of the best athletes, but I could not show that on games. I was not performing my best on games, and that really frustrated me. I was really upset about that because I felt like all the effort I was putting into training, I was not showing in games. And that really stuck with me because I wanted to become great. I wanted to become a professional. But for me to achieve that, I had to prove everyone I was better than most of the athletes, and I couldn't do that. I was not being able to transform all that I practiced into performance on the games. And that was one of the biggest issues I faced in my life in regards to the mental side. So the problem with that was not me. The problem was not that I was not giving my best during practice. And the answer to everybody, to everyone that I talked to, was train harder, because that will make you more confident. And that's the biggest lie you can ever hear. A lot of people will tell you that the answer to more confidence is training more, but that is not true. That is nonsense talking these things, because confidence depends on a variety of things, and I show you throughout this series of videos. But the problem is that physical training is the minimum for you to become a high-level athlete. If you are not training your hardest, if you're not playing on a high level, if you're not competing, if you're not training on the right way, it's impossible for you to become a high-level athlete, because this way you will not develop your ability. However, there are thousands of athletes that work hard every single day that are not performing well. And that might be the case for you, or the case for you might be that you cannot even train your hardest. But for both cases, the answer is your mindset. It's not that you're lazy, it's not that you are weak because you're not confident. The problem is that people don't teach you how to do that. People don't teach you how to develop the right habits. People don't tell you how to become confident, how to develop the right mentality, how to manage your emotions. People don't tell you that. And it's not only on sports, it's in life in general. Few people have the tools to feel confident about themselves. If you see, a lot of issues that are going on society today are related to this, because people don't know how to do it. And that's one of the biggest mistakes athletes, coaches, and clubs are making. It's not teaching, not learning about how to develop the right mindset, about how to use the tools for becoming confident, for managing anxiety, for improving your self-image, for working harder, for enjoying the moment, for not feeling anxious for competing, for how to use the best pre-game routine, how music affects you. All of these things are not things that clubs, athletes, and coaches focus on. They have a tremendous impact over your performance and over your life. They only speak about working harder, about giving your best, about grinding, about the mentality for success as something that depends only on effort. And that's wrong. People need to learn how to become confident, and I am here for this. I decided to start working on this, to start studying these aspects for improving myself first, and then I decided to share this with a lot of athletes, and I have been doing this for the past 3 years. And on these videos, I want to show you how to do that. What are the main problems that happens to athletes? So before I start talking about 6 mistakes that athletes make that prevents them from achieving success, I want to share with you a personal story about my life. So I was always in a club, always training in an academy since I was like 10 years old. And throughout this period, I really became better. I really improved my ability, but I wanted something bigger. I wanted to play for a bigger club. I wanted to be among the best athletes on the country. By the way, I'm from Brazil, so there's a high competition in here. There are too many athletes, too many people trying to become professional soccer players. So the competition was really tough. But even though I consider myself to be among the best athletes. So throughout this period, I was becoming better. I was showing my coach that I had a good potential, but I was not playing so well on games. Although my coach really trusted me, he thought I could become one of the best athletes I could make into a better tryout. So I was preparing myself to go to this tryout for a long period of my life. I was training every single day, every single week, preparing for that tryout, preparing to get into a better club. So when this tryout came up, I was faced with the athletes that were already at that club. So I was playing against the athletes that were already part of the club. I started playing against them, and before the game started, I was feeling so anxious, I was feeling so much pressure on myself. I was thinking that I was putting my effort all into that exact moment, all into that challenge, and I had to perform. I was feeling anxiety because of the pressure I was putting on myself. And when I saw those athletes, they all looked bigger and more confident than me. And that really destroyed my confidence. By the way, this is one of the biggest mistakes athletes make, and I will talk more about this later on this video. So on that tryout, the game started, and I was feeling so nervous. I was feeling like I was not in that moment. My head went somewhere else. I was feeling fear to make mistakes. I was feeling not confident to compete. I was looking at those other athletes as if they were much better than me. The reality is they could be better than me, but if that was the case, it was by a small percentage. They were not much better than me, but on my mind, I started creating those images that made me to fear to make mistakes. I was afraid to not making into that tryout. I didn't know how to behave during that moment. I was lost on the game. My mind was not focusing on the game. I was not making the right decisions. I was not playing like myself. I was completely a different athlete. I didn't make the tryout. I knew I was not making it during the tryout because I was not performing well. I knew I was not giving my best, and I didn't know what to do to feel confident, to start making the moves I was used to do, to show my ability, to grab the attention, grab the responsibility, and show to all of them, to the coaches, to the other athletes, that I was able to perform at the same level as the athletes that were part of the club were performing. I couldn't do that tryout, and all the following tryouts I had in my life, they were not like this one, but they were similar in a way. I was not confident as I wanted to be. I was not giving my best. I was not showing my ability. I always felt like I was not focused on the moment. And I didn't know what to do for that. A lot of people told me that I had to be more confident, and that was all they told me. They didn't teach me how to do it. They didn't teach me the strategies for becoming more confident. All they told me was that you gotta be more confident to compete. You gotta show that you know how to do this. I knew I had to be more confident. I knew I had to show my ability, but I didn't know how. I didn't have the strategies for doing that. And this stayed on my life for a long period. I stayed playing like this for a very long period of my life until I'll find out about psychology. And when I did, I got so passionate about this, and I started studying it every single day of my life. I decided to change my major to psychology to study even more about the human brain. I wanted to understand neuroscience. I wanted to understand a lot of stuff that influences athletes' performance, and I decided to make this my passion, my life, my career. I decided to invest in this to help other athletes to not make the same mistakes I was making. I decided to help athletes to find out the truth about performance, the truth about how to become a better athlete, how to become the mindset for performing on a high level. There's a variety of things that involve this mindset. It's not only working harder. The answer is not working harder. The answer for you is not more motivation. This is what people tell you, and they don't know what they're talking about. All of these people that say these things, they have no clue about how psychology works. And that is affecting your game, because if you believe this is the answer and you work on this, you will never solve the problem, because they are pointing the wrong answer to your problems and you're believing them. You are doing what they tell you to do, but they will never solve your problem. That's the biggest issue I faced on my career that made me to not achieve the level that I wanted. But for you, things can be different. So now I will show you 6 mistakes that athletes make that prevent them from achieving success. The first problem that makes athletes unable to achieve high performance is lacking confidence to compete. This is probably the most common mistake, the most common problem that athletes come to me asking about. On my Instagram, I receive a lot of messages every single day from athletes asking how to be more confident. And every time I think, how can I help this athlete? Because confidence is something that depends on a variety of factors. And when an athlete asks me how to be more confident, there's a variety of things he can do to become more confident. And if you are not confident, picture this. If you are not confident, what is the point of learning new things if you cannot use them? When you get to the game, you are not confident to compete and you cannot use the drills you learn. You cannot play up to your ability. That's a huge problem for athletes, because even though you are good, people don't know that, because you are not able to prove them how good you are. And all the time, all the effort, all the energy you put into training are wasted because you don't make that your actual performance. For me, that was one of the biggest issues I had throughout my career, because I felt like I was not worth that time. That time was not worth my investment, because I was investing all of that time and it was not giving me anything back. I was improving, but I couldn't prove other people I was better. That is one of the biggest issues for athletes. And this will continue to happen on your life. This will prevent you from achieving success if you don't solve your confidence issue, if you don't become a more confident athlete. And you might think that the answer is more practice. Is not. I know a lot of athletes that practice every single day, and on the game they are not confident. And even you can realize that a lot of athletes are very good, they are playing at a high level, and all of a sudden they decrease their performance. Even pro athletes. Some athletes go to a bigger club, they start performing well, and then all of a sudden they stop performing well. Academy players, a lot of players from Barcelona that they had a lot of expectation about, they started playing on the team, they didn't perform up to their ability, they went to a smaller team, even though they didn't perform up to their ability, and they had to stop playing their sport, because even though they were great during academies, they were not confident to compete at the high level, and that made them unable to prove themselves. It made them unable to compete at a high level. And that is very frustrating for athletes. Have you been through this? Ask yourself, have you been through this? Have you been through a situation that you were playing, that you knew you were good, you were better than the other athletes, but you were not outperforming them? You were outworking them every single day, but you were not outperforming. I have been through this situation several times, and it really frustrated me. It made me to think about giving up, and even once I made the decisions to give up, then I get back, I decided to try it again. But it was very frustrating to me to know that all that was giving into training was not transforming into a better performance. This will stay with you for the rest of your career if you don't solve this problem, if you don't fix this issue. It's very common, and confidence, as I said, depends on a variety of reasons. There are a lot of things that you have to do, but first you must find out why you are not confident, and from there you create a strategy for improving your confidence. The second mistake that athletes make that prevents them to achieve high level is feeling lazy or not working as hard as they should. First of all, you are not lazy, you are not lacking motivation. What you are lacking is strategy. this strategy is how you think, how you perceive, how you approach the situations. The issue here is also on your mindset. If you're not thinking the right way, you will not be able to work hard every day. That's a big issue for athletes. And although it was not one of the problems that stayed with me for a longer period, but I've been through this before, and fortunately I could fix this during my career. So the strategy here is not trying to hype up yourself, not watching motivational videos, not reading motivational books, reading motivational quotes, posting them on Instagram. That is not the answer. Although a lot of people will tell you that you gotta be stronger, you gotta be harder on yourself, you gotta push more, that is not the answer. More motivation is not the answer here. So if you don't become like this, if you don't develop the right mindset for working harder every day, for pushing yourself, for knowing how much effort you put in, you will continue to not make as much progress as you should. For competing at a high level, the minimum you have to do is work hard and become a better athlete. That's the minimum. And even if you do this, it is not guaranteed that you achieve the top. The minimum is working as much as most of the athletes are. So if you want to become a high-level athlete, that's the minimum you got to do. You got to work hard every day. And if you're not able to do it, you won't make progress. You won't make it to the bigger clubs. You won't become a professional athlete. This will prevent you from any chances you might have on the future. So this is the second issue that athletes do that prevents them from achieving success. Not using the right strategy to work every single day. And when I mean this, is not going through the flow, just training. You have to train with the right intensity, with the right focus. And this also comes from the right mindset. The third mistakes athletes make is not knowing how to handle pressure. And this, I would say that no athlete is born knowing how to do it. And most of the athletes never learn how to do it. If today you feel pressure, you feel your own pressure, or if you feel pressure from your coach, imagine how it's gonna feel when you are playing for thousands of people that are paying to watch you and there's big money involved on the game. Imagine how much pressure there will be on yourself. Ask yourself, would you be able to handle it? Would you be able to play in front of 40,000 people and become confident and feel confident and not fear making mistakes? Would you be able to do that? Well, talking about myself, I knew I couldn't be able when I was trying to become a pro athlete. I wouldn't be able to play for that amount of people, even 5,000 people. I wouldn't be able to do that because I didn't know how to handle pressure. Most of the athletes blame their coaches' criticism, they blame their teammates' criticism, they blame their parents' expectations, their parents' pressure on them, but they don't know, the issue is they don't know how to handle pressure. You cannot avoid every single kind of criticism. You cannot avoid every single kind of pressure. There will be always pressure around you. There will be always criticism on you. If you become a famous athlete, there will be criticism on you from Twitter, from the TV, from the media, from the fans, from a lot of places. And what you need to learn how to do is handling criticism. It's not avoiding them. And this is what most of the athletes do. They try to avoid criticism. And that becomes a big issue when they get to a higher expectation, when they get to a higher league, there will be more pressure, more expectation towards them. And if they didn't learn how to handle this, they will stop playing. How many players came from a smaller club and when they got to a bigger league, they couldn't prove themselves, they couldn't play up to their potential because they didn't know how to handle the pressure. They didn't know how to handle having so much money, having so many people supporting them, having so many people talking shit about them, and this is a big issue. A situation that happened a few weeks ago with Benzema criticizing Vinicius Jr. in front of him but talking in French so he wouldn't understand. It's a situation that a lot of athletes go through. Benzema was talking to Mendy, the left back from Real Madrid, to not pass the ball to Vinicius Jr. because he was playing bad. And that, the camera got that and all the media was talking about it. If Vinicius doesn't learn or if he doesn't know how to handle pressure, this could destroy his career. He's having criticism from a teammate that plays right next to him, saying for the other athletes to not pass the ball to him. And that is a big issue that can destroy your self-image, can destroy your confidence if you don't know how to handle it. So it's very important that you learn how to do this from the beginning of your career, so you don't let these kind of things to interfere with your performance and your progress. If you don't learn how to do these things, you cannot expect to play at a high level. If you don't know how to handle coaches' criticism, your parents' expectations, your teammates blaming you, if you can't handle that, you can't expect to play on a high level. The fourth mistake athletes make is having fear of making mistakes. And this is so dangerous because when you fear making mistakes, you are not risking. And if you are not risking, you are not taking all the chances. I'm not saying for you to make mistakes on purpose, but if you fear making mistakes, you will not achieve a high level because all the time athletes risk themselves. Things could go right, things could go wrong. And if you are not willing to take this risk, you are not going to make the most out of every opportunity you have. If you want to become a better athlete, if you want to improve yourself, if you want to play at a high level, you must learn how to not fear mistakes, how to go into the pitch, allowing yourself to make mistakes, not caring so much about criticism, about judgment, and playing your best, feeling free to play. This is a feeling that just a few athletes do. Think about how Neymar, how Messi, how Cristiano Ronaldo, how they compete a game. Do they seem like they fear making mistakes? Do they seem like they are thinking about what other people think about them? They are just focused on the game, they are feeling confident, not fearing mistakes and taking risks all the time, and that's why they are at the top. They know how to handle those things. If you want to achieve the level of success, if you want to achieve a high level of performance, you must learn how to do it. You must learn how to make yourself to feel comfortable with criticism, with mistakes, how not let your confidence go down when you make mistakes. The fifth mistake is having too many doubts about your future. When you think about your future on sport, your career, what do you think? Are you confident you're gonna achieve that? Or do you doubt yourself? Will you be able to make this? Do you think if you're good enough, if you should be doing this, or if you should give up and do something else? This is a mistake that makes athletes to feel uncertain about their future, that makes them to get unmotivated to do things. It makes them to lose focus on their career, to lose focus to continue to make progress. So if you have these kind of thoughts, you are not making as much progress as you could. All of these thoughts, they have an impact on you that decrease your motivation, decrease your confidence, and make you to doubt if that's the thing you should be doing. And the consequences of that is not being consistent with your performance, not being consistent with your focus and habits. That becomes a huge issue when you have them all the time, when you doubt yourself all the time. And if that's happening to you, chances are you are not relaxed to sleep, you are not relaxed before a game, you are fearing the outcome that a specific game might have, and you are not being yourself towards your competition. You don't feel like you can be yourself and play your game because you are fearing too much what the future might have for you. You become too fearful about what might happen, and that makes them to focus on the wrong things. If you want to become a high-level athlete, this cannot be on your mind. It might come to you sometimes, but you are not feeding those thoughts. You are excluding them. Continue to believe you are going to make it. Even if you don't make it, you spend your time all in a way that you thought you were going to make it, and that gives you more confidence, more strength to keep working hard, to keep working towards your dreams. So the last mistake that athletes make is not bouncing back from injuries and other challenges. These things will happen in everyone's career. And the reason why some athletes were at the top for so long, like Michael Phelps, Cristiano Ronaldo, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Messi, all of these athletes, they know how to bounce back from mistakes. They had injuries, they had personal issues, they had criticism, they had bad phases, weren't able to stop them from becoming better, from continue to achieve the top, from continuing to achieve a high level of performance. A lot of athletes let one mistake to decrease their confidence, their motivation, their habits, and they stop working towards their goals. They accept being average, they let mistakes, they let injuries to put them down and not perform as they used to be. If you don't know how to handle this, if you don't know how to handle your emotions during these periods, you're gonna let these affect your performance and not be confident. At the beginning of the video, I was talking about that most of the athletes let the environment and let everything that happens to them to influence their confidence. If you don't learn how to manage your emotions, how to manage how you react to the situations, you are gonna let injuries and other kind of challenges to make you to become not so good and to prevent you from achieving the top. I hope that's not something you want. I hope that you don't want to let these things to affect your performance. And the only way to do that is to develop a better mindset, is to develop the mindset where you believe you can overcome these obstacles and continue to be confident. Some athletes say like they're not going to let these affect them, but the way they behave is letting these to affect their performance. If they lose confidence, if they lose their hope, if they lose their motivation throughout these periods, they're not gonna achieve the top. It's normal to decrease a little bit for a small period when these things happen, but if you allow them to interfere with your performance for weeks, you're not gonna achieve the top because competition is tough. People are getting better every day. And if you let those things to prevent you from making progress, you are staying behind your competition. So it's very important that you develop these if you want to achieve the top. These are only 6 mistakes the athletes make. I could say another 1,000 mistakes in here, like not managing emotions, not managing expectations, fearing the opponent, not being comfortable to compete, not having the right pre-game routine, not making progress as they should, not using the right strategies on practice, not having a game plan, a lot of things, a lot of mistakes the athletes make that makes them to have a weak mindset. And with a weak mindset, you will never achieve the top. Can you think about a successful athlete that had a weak mindset? No, because that's impossible to achieve the top if you have a weak mindset. So that's it for this video. On the next video, I will show you how to fix these problems, how you can not let these mistakes to affect you, how you can become a better athlete, and how you can develop the mindset of the greatest athletes in the world. I will post the video tomorrow, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I see you on the next video.